Beloved, this is your favorite Reverend Dr. Sapon, the researcher and embryologist. Wherever you are, God bless you. As the greetings goes, get wisdom, get understanding. According to Proverbs chapter 7, verse number 4, also says, wisdom may breastfeed you. So in as much as you're getting wisdom, it means that wisdom is a mother. So 4:7 also says, get wisdom, and in thy getting, get understanding. Beloved, I'm still going to talk about esoteric or esoteric. And when you define this word, it says intended for or likely to be understood by a small number of people with interest or knowledge. As I said, it's a word that in as much as you're trying to find definition to these words, it still gives you an adage or a proverb. I'm talking about names, N-A-M-E. And when you define the word name or names, it says it's a what? It's pronouncement of words or certain words that defined a particular thing, which is a name. So I may ask you, does your name defines who you are? As you know, when we say mobile phone, what makes a phone mobile, or what makes a mobile phone, is the fact that the name says mobile, means you can walk with it, you can move with it, and that makes a mobile phone. When you define the word car, C-A-R, it says something with four wheels that is being powered by an engine. That is definition of a name car. Okay, so as I said again, and I'll ask you again, does your name defines who you are? In the Bible says there was a man by name Nabal. Nabal, N-A-B-L-E or N-A-B-E-L. And that name defines fool, foolish. A name that defines as foolish or a fool. And of course, the Bible describes this gentleman in the Bible that he was a very foolish man. And David wanted to kill this man called Nabal because he insulted David. But the man named Nabal was saved by his wife. And his wife's name was what? Abigail, the father's joy. So names, when it comes to names of humans, as in name of a person, is very, very important. You see, at times, when you name even your pet, tiger, the pet becomes as wide as the tiger. When you name your dog, whatever name that you name a dog, the dog becomes just like the name. So the Bible talks about so many names and their definitions. Let me give you an example where a man by name Abram, according to Genesis chapter 17, verse number 5, says, even when you read from the verse number 1, it talks about Abram being 99 years. The man was 99 years, but yet he was still waiting for his destiny to reveal. Until God came down to this man's life, Abram's life, and God spoke to him directly, telling him that my covenant is with you. My covenant, as God's covenant, was with Abram. But yet, 99 years, left with only 1 year to hit 100 years. But yet, the guy could not find his destiny, that he was still an impotent. As in, the man Abram was still an impotent man. The multi-million question that I know you're asking yourself right now was, why the guy Abram was still waiting and he could not bear the fruit of the womb, as in he could not impregnate a woman. The question again is, does a name has anything to do with a man's semen? A semen, which is sperm. Does a name has any connection to do with sperms? But yes, I will tell you yes. The answer is yes. Because the man was 99 years old, which God descended down to speak to this guy, saying that I have a covenant with you. But because of your name, so not until your name has changed, nothing better can come out in your life. So God changed this guy's name from Abram to Abraham. Is there any connection? You will get to understand it very soon. So then, after his name had changed, the wife never knew that the effect of Mr. Abraham not being able to be sterile, not being able to be potent, but rather has become sterile, was the fact that the name has some negative energy upon his life. So as God changed this guy's name, God said to, or even his wife said to him, go into my maidservant. Perhaps she might give you an offspring, so that your name may not be whether, on the soil of what? Of God, as in Israel. So he went into his maidservant, and boom, the girl became pregnant. After a certain time, listen, after the girl had bore a son unto this man Abraham, the girl, which was a maidservant, grew wings and started shaming Sarai, which is Mr. Abraham's wife, Sarai, shaming her for her not being able to conceive. And the thing displeased God. So God came back again and announcing to Mr. Abraham that change your wife's name according to Genesis chapter 17, verse number 15. So God said to this guy, don't call your wife Sarai anymore, but call your wife Sarah. Just as Mr. Abraham changed his wife's name from Sarai, which is Sarai, to Sarah, then boom, the woman Sarah also conceived. So my brother, my sister, as you're watching me, names are so powerful. Why is it that nobody names his son Lucifer? But the name Lucifer also doesn't interpret Satan. The name Lucifer means the morning star or the brightness star. So if this is the interpretation of the name Lucifer, then why is it that nobody wants to call his son Lucifer? Because of the energy of the name Lucifer, or who Lucifer had become now. Lucifer turning to Satan, and that's how come nobody wants to name his son or her son Lucifer. The name Belinda, have you ever bothered to check the definition of the name Belinda? A lot of people are going for the one definition. Belinda has got two definitions, which the first one says beautiful. The second, to the Greek or to the Latin definition, says snake. So the name Belinda has got, two definitions, which is beautiful snake. And to be honest, if you had knew, or if you have known that the name Belinda has got two definitions, which one is beautiful snake, would you have named your girl child as beautiful snake? Take a very critical look at those women by name Belinda. You could see how they behave. A woman called Naomi traveled with her 2 children and her husband to a foreign land, thinking that, their land was affected or was hit by famine. So Naomi thought going to abroad would have been a better place for them. A lot of people today are traveling from their motherland onto a foreign land, believing that that foreign land could help them. People are going to America. People are going to London. People are going to Germany, Australia, Austria, Canada. You know what? You can name them. But to no avail. It's your name. Not until you change your name, or not until you do something about your name, they can put you even in Queen Elizabeth's palace, which is Buckingham Palace. You will still come out zero. So in the Bible, the book of Ruth explained this, that Naomi traveled from her motherland onto a foreign land with her family, believing, I think that is what we call family class today. Papa Nameboa. Family class. Today when you are filing visa applications, there's a point where it says family class, where you can put all your family members and, travel to become someone else's, as in whatever, a citizen. So a lot of people are traveling on family class. That's exactly what Naomi did. Upon her arrival, she lost all her family. Her 2 children died even after they had married. These 2 children died mysteriously. Her husband also died. And then within no time, she heard that God had revisited her motherland. So she decided to go back to her motherland. Lo and behold, Orpah and Ruth decided to follow her. But she cautioned them to say, even if children were to come out of my womb today, they may not be grown enough to marry you people. So go back to your father's house. So she charged them to go back to their father's house. But the Bible says Ruth was determined to follow Naomi wherever she goes. Now watch this. Ruth had also traveled, followed Naomi to a foreign land, which Naomi also traveled onto a foreign land. What am I talking about? There are some Americans now in Ghana, which a lot of people are trying to go to America. There are some Americans, indigenous people of that land, Americans, who has also traveled onto a foreign land, and they are doing very well. So it's not about your location or your jurisdiction. So I normally tell people that the blessing of the Lord has no geographical location or neither having a geographical limitation. It's about who you are, and what you become by your destiny. And even your name can also affect that. So in as much as I've talked about your life path number, which is embedded with your name code in it, you are supposed to find your right name. And if your name is not right and is wrong, my dear brother, you've suffered the same consequences as those people who suffered in the Bible. Not to even mention of a gentleman called Joseph. You know his story. Joseph had dreams, or he was having dreams, very beautiful dreams, which he always tells his dream to his brothers. Even his father cursed him. Are you trying to tell me that you will be greater than I do, than your father? That is how God had created Joseph. You see, so some of us have been created in a way that, yes, of course, your father ought to go down on his knees before he comes closer to you. That is how God has created you. But to no avail. Things are not happening the way as how your destiny is. So it means that something has taken over your destiny, which it may be your name, because names has got definitions, a name has got authority over whoever or whatever that name has been given unto. So let me go ahead by explaining to you more into details. Joseph was envied by his brothers, which they sold him up later to the passerbyers. And they also sold him to the king, which Joseph was to be somebody as a servant. So Joseph became a servant in Potiphar's house, which even the wife of Potiphar was trying to have sex with this guy, rape this guy, which this guy ran away from the woman. And the woman pressed charges against the gentleman, which the gentleman was later cast into prison. Lo and behold, you know the story. Joseph narrated or gave definitions to someone's dream, interpreted the dream, and the interpretation of that dream came into reality. So the guy was taken out of prison as Joseph interpreted the dream. So later part of the show, the guy could not remember Joseph, but until the king also had a dream, and then the guy remembered that there was a guy who interpreted my dream way back when I was in prison, and whatever he said concerning my dream came into reality. So he recommended Joseph ought to be brought out for him to interpret the king's dream. So Joseph was brought out, and lo and behold, as he interpreted the king's dream, lo, it came into reality, and he was put in as a prime minister. Then the king changed the name Joseph, because the king realized that in numerology, Joseph means what? An envy. People will envy you. People will suppress you. People will hate you for no reason. And Joseph's name was changed to Zaphenath-Paneah. Zaphenath-Paneah. Who else? I can mention more and more. So there was a guy called Jacob in the Bible. As you know the story of Jacob. Jacob and his brother Esau. Jacob cooked food. And Esau got to a point where Jacob was, let me say, kitchen. Esau had the feel to take the food, to taste the food of Jacob's, delicacy. But Jacob said unto his brother, pronounce to me that I'm the elderly brother. Lo and behold, Esau thought it was just a position at birth. And Esau said, okay, so what is it for you being an elderly brother? So you are the elderly brother. Not knowing it has been accepted, been established in the spiritual realms. So this name, or with this position at birth, established. But yet, Jacob was still running because Jacob stole the blessings of Esau. Because Esau pronounced Jacob as an elderly brother. So God allowed that, whatever they did with their mother, impersonation or whatever, came into reality. Where Jacob, fake it. He faked it as being Esau, which he went for Esau's blessing. And then Esau got to know that Jacob had taken his blessing from their father Isaac. So he was pursuing Jacob. Jacob was running until one day Jacob met an angel of God. And Jacob said, bless me. Because Jacob knew that he have tried all possible best, but to no avail. Some of you people watching me, you are just in the life of Jacob. You've tried whatever that you could. All techniques, anything. You've gone to school. You have PhD. You have whatever bachelor's degree. You have a degree. But people who have no degree, people who are not even up to your class, are doing it very well in life. And you thought it's what? It's because of what? Education-wise or what? You still feel like you still haven't educated yourself enough. That is not what it is. There's something huge that is taking a toll over your life, which is your name. And today, that is what I'm defining to you, that, of course, it's not just a pronouncement, but it has an energy, which should be connected, which your life path number is supposed to be synchronized with your name. So Jacob fought with an angel, and then the angel even dislocated his hip bone to extend that the angel was like, let me go, let go of me, because the night is what is breaking. And the angel realized that Jacob was so determined that not until he do something unto his life, he's not going to allow him to go. Then the angel asked Jacob, what is your name? And it's Jacob. And the angel says, no longer shall your name be called Jacob, but hence your name shall be what? Israel. And just as the angel pronounced a new name over the lives of Jacob, on Jacob's return, Jacob met his brother who was pursuing him, Esau, and Esau went down on his knees just as he saw Jacob and said, peace be unto you. A lot of people, you are running from your destiny. A lot of people are running even from the place where they are supposed to be blessed, because you don't know, because you have no idea what has been the calamity over your life. You don't have an idea what has been, a stumbling block over your life. And this is what I'm telling you, not until you check. How do you get to know whether your name synchronizes with your life path number? That is what I am doing, and this is what I'm asking you to seek for this, because I happens to be a victim of this, which I have to travel to Israel, where a rabbi told me that your name is wrong, which I could not believe it until I got to know what is called Chaldean numerology, that indeed God changed certain people's name before their destiny, true destiny, came into reality. So my dear friend, as you are watching me, your name may be the problem, or your name is the problem. And this is what I'm urging you to seek for help. And no any other place. You are not traveling to Israel, but I'm here in Ghana, which you can contact me on +233 246 103 708. +233 246 103708 is the number. You can reach me on, so that we can get to the bottom of your problem, because I've given you biblical proof, and I can still continue to give you more biblical proof to prove beyond reasonable doubt that your name is the problem to whatever that you are facing. Being a problem of maybe your marriage, being it your traveling opportunities, being it your job, being it your finances, or being even the fact that you cannot bring up an offspring. So get wisdom, get understanding. Bye-bye. Love you.